Good evening, folks. Trash prompt as usual. The plan tonight is some Crystal Caverns. Big day's almost here. Just waiting for Tom to log on, and then we'll go commit some mayhem. Gathorn's going to be joining us a little later. It's early in the morning for him, so it's going to take him a little while to get here. In the meantime, we get to enjoy the music. Now how the hell do I get out of here? I'm lost. It's tough being an ogre in a dwarf-sized town. Oh. Ah, there we are. Forgot I died last time. I have to rememorize all my spells. Remember? We did level. We were 36 very briefly. And then I died. Then we lost it. And this is not the way I want to go? Is this the way I want to go? I don't know. We'll find out. Tequila Joe! What's going on? Nope. Is this? Yeah, this is it. Oh, yes. Did you catch what you got? Tell you what, so we're not sitting around bored. I'm going to hop onto another tune real quick. Oh, brilliant. Oh, you got to work tonight? Do you got to work Christmas? So I know that's a 365-day-a-year career. Gaming life, what's going on? Ah, sorry to hear that. Yeah. Always look on the bright side of life. Yeah, I guess you do. He has a belly button. I just noticed that. I was originally going to do the 2002 server tonight, but Tom can't make it tomorrow night, so just kind of switching those around. Although I might end up doing World of Warships tomorrow night. I don't know, I'm kind of hooked on that game right now. Sure, I'll get bored of it eventually, but... Did it crash? I think my client crashed. Oh, come on, don't do this. Yeah, I think my client crashed. Yeah, see, it's not the type of game I would normally play. That's why I kind of resisted playing it forever, because like, as I mentioned, Gathorn wouldn't shut up about it. My client crashed. So just more to shut him up than anything, I finally just installed it. And I can't stop playing the damn thing. Is it gonna go? Is it gonna go? It's always a crapshoot to see if you can connect the first try or not. And what were we doing? Oh, that's right, we were gnolls. We were killing gnolls. That's what they're there for. Same to you, Tequila. Same to you. I'm sorry you have to work, but I'll be streaming every night from now until then. I'll probably be on Christmas night too, so. Yeah, there are worse positions to be in. What's going on, Vic? How goes the visit with the folks? Thank you. Oh, I'm doing good, Vic. I'm doing good. Can't complain. Of course, that's never stopped me. Hmm? Oh, I don't have any ranged weapons. For shame. Oh, right, Vic. You made it there okay? I'm guessing you did, since you're here talking. Although you could be in the hospital with just your thumbs unbroken. Oh, okay. Okay. What level is this guy anyhow? 18. Good lord. I didn't know he was that high level. Not that that's a high level, but. I did. I did. He will never knoll again. That's why monks are so much fun. No mana either. Taking advantage of my soul. So now my bard at the same level could kill them all at the same time. That's the difference between a monk and a bard. In fact, my bard at the same level was killing them all at the same time. And walking away from the fight at full health. Gotta wait for my men to pop. It's finally up to a point where it's usable. So what's everybody doing for Christmas? I'm going to ask that every single night until Christmas is here. And then after Christmas is over, I'm going to say, so what did everybody do for Christmas? Alright, I know Tequila Joe's working, but... yeah. Sounds like fun. Ooh, Undead Reaver. They hit a little harder. Screw it. We can take them. You have to promise me, Trash, that you will watch The Christmas Story at least one time this holiday season. That's your homework. It's the best Christmas movie ever made. Yeah. Hey Harry, how's it going? Shots for everyone. Oh, you're going to want to stop by on New Year's then, Tequila. Supposed to be doing a New Year's stream of Boar. He tends to get a little tipsy. Don't know what we're going to do. We're probably just going to log on to Everquest and sit around and talk all night, but it's a good game for it. Yeah, I guess most people actually go out and do things on New Year's. We don't. We're a couple of boring old people. I've never, not once in my entire life, have I ever gone out and done anything on New Year's. Now that I think about it, even when I was young. Yeah, not one time. Trying to think back on any time that I did. Never have. No, I love it. That's where all my stuff is. It's comfort. I know where everything's at. I'm allowed to touch anything I want. Don't have to worry about finding a ride home. It's all good. I'm going to get a coffee. I will be right back. I'm waiting for Tom to show up. I don't know if he's going to or not, though. He might have actually found some friends to hang out with. He has a life or something. Be right back. Yeah, I know. Lives are overrated. I used to have one. Nothing but trouble. Nothing but trouble. Oh, my buffs are gone. So sad. You caught that, huh? I was thinking she was paying attention, but she wasn't. Oh, shit. This guy's hitting freaking hard. I might not survive this. I might have to faint on this one. He was just hitting too hard. All my buffs wore off. Let's rest up and try that again. One wound. Hoot. It's her house and she allows me to stay here. Don't let her kid you. And now we wait. I didn't know you could sneak while sitting. Everything's in her name. We have this arrangement where I don't have access to any of the finances. By my choice, because I can't be trusted with money. I'm the shopper, not her. She's the frugal one. So everything's in her name. Checking account and everything. My name's not on any of it. In the beginning, it was kind of, I don't know if I'm saying, is this too much information? Okay. In the beginning, it was kind of an arrangement because she's considerably younger than I am, so I wanted to make sure that her family was comfortable with the situation. So I made sure that everything was in her name, so she had all the control in the relationship. So there was no, because you know how people are. But then over time, we realized it's just better that way because she's much better at the money than I am. And now as a result, all the bills are paid, rent's always paid, everything's always paid on time. Never behind on anything. Carry no debt. Boss says big. Yeah, all I do. Implicitly. It's one of a kind. Welcome back, Trash. Spirit Stalker. That one Null Reaver never changes. All the other ones turn into the Undead Reavers. That one always stays Null Reaver. I wonder why that is. Well, let's kill him. Teach him the error of his ways. Tom was supposed to be logging on, but he, like I say, he may have gotten hijacked by friends again. Eggnog, no. Coffee, just coffee. How's it going, Anonymous? Just talking about you last night, actually. There was a thing that you'd mentioned. Oh, the doctor that died by committed suicide by stabbing himself in the chest. I didn't know what you were referring to when you were talking about that. I thought it was just some random doctor case. I didn't know it was one of Hillary's shenanigans. You know, like committing suicide by shooting yourself in the back of the head twice. Good night, bud. Jesus Christ. Thanks for the slobber. Coffee's the best thing ever, trash. It's the official drink of the stream. Brought to you by Juan Valdez. Your mom let you drink coffee? Doesn't she ever tell you it'll stunt your growth? Mom used to say that to me all the time. I'm 6 feet tall and I've been drinking coffee my whole life. It'll stunt your growth. Well, thank God, because otherwise I'd be a giant. That probably explains why you never sleep, too, if you drink coffee. Ugh. Poor puppy. Poor puppy. Well, if you don't want me to kill him, it wouldn't be worth XP. It's the law of the wild. I don't make the rules. Oh, okay. Oh, when I was in high school, when I first started high school, my morning ritual was, this is before I started really appreciating coffee. Wake up in the morning, get some hot water on, throw some instant coffee in it, chug it all down, make it really strong too, really strong. Chug it all down, hop on the bus and go to school every morning. And then, of course, 9 times out of 10 when I got to school, I just turned right around and leave, so I don't know what the point was even going, but regardless, every morning I would do that. And then I learned to appreciate it. Danny, what's going on? Meh. Oot, that worked. Call it coffee hobbits. That's what you meant. Hobbits, not habits. Hobbits. Griffins. Coffee hobbits. I actually have to pay attention to this one. See, it's kind of hard. And apparently I don't hit at all. There we go. Yeah, I did quite a bit of that. Well, of course, when I went, you're allowed to smoke. You're allowed to smoke at school. So we go up behind the cafeteria. But my high school is big. I should point out, it was a really big school. And we go out behind the cafeterias and smoke cigarettes. And then, of course, somebody'd always bust out the joints, and we all pie-eyed before we go to class. And then halftime, we just wouldn't even bother. We'd just go down the hill and get some pancakes. There was a diner down the hill that made these plate-sized pancakes, big things, 50 cents a piece, big-ass pancakes. And that's what we would do. Good times, good times. I never went to school. I know I pretty much stopped going on a regular basis in 9th grade. But when I would skip school, I'd always go to the library. So it's not like I wasn't learning anything. I just wasn't learning what they were teaching. I think I actually learned more. I'd always spend my time on the top floors of the library where they kept all the boring books, the research books and the history, that kind of thing. All the dusty old books. You wish I was better than PewDiePie? Thanks, I think. Yeah, see, I went to school for, I didn't get, I stopped at an associate's degree because that's when I realized this wasn't for me. But for graphic design, and bad choice. Never used it. Got 1 or 2 jobs right out, two jobs exactly right after graduation. Hated them both. Realized I'd made a very bad life choice. Back then, you couldn't go for anything fun. I mean, there was engineering one, but there were no real computers. I mean, you couldn't go to school for computers. It was just becoming a thing, and of course, the local school that I went to didn't offer it. So there is that. And then what makes it even better is when I went to school, everything was done analog. When you did a paste up of like a magazine ad or something like that, you did an actual physical paste up, and then you took it over to the cameras to shoot a negative for it, so you could make a printing plate for it. The semester I graduated is the semester they replaced all the old typesetting equipment with new Macintosh computers, so you could do it all digitally from that point forward. And I missed out on all of that. So I graduated with a completely worthless degree. Oh, I was livid. Livid. It was a good experience, though. So there is that. Oh, computers were invented a long time ago. It's just for the longest time it was just it was a niche thing. It was a hobby that certain nerdy guys did. It wasn't anything that anybody really took seriously. And my high school didn't use computers at all. Everything when I went to high school, everything was on paper. There were computers, but they were like Tandy Radio Shack or TRS-80s. You know, that kind of thing where you just did some programming in BASIC. But it was very primitive. Very primitive. Kilobytes of RAM instead of gigs. Big old clunky things that use these big 5.5-inch floppy disks. And they were actually floppy. Yeah, you go like Radio Shack and buy a computer back then because it was a hobby. It wasn't something that people actually did anything with. They just didn't have the power back then. Computers didn't really come into their own until the internet became a thing. Even then, it took a few years because the internet speeds were so slow. Because everything was going over phone lines and whatnot, except for, you know, dedicated networks. But even then, it was slow. It wasn't until it all came together, you know, with broadband connections and faster processors and more memory and more storage. Yeah. Well, I enjoyed it. I thought it was neat. I thought the whole thing was neat. I was lucky. My dad always tried to stay on top of that kind of stuff as well. So we always had these little... I mean, they were crap. They were absolute crap. But you could do some basic programming on them. Little computers around, like a Timex Sinclair. They used a cassette tape for a disk drive. Those kind of things. So there was always exposure to the technology. It's just, and I always thought it was neat that you could actually do things with these. And then, you know, of course, this was right around the time that the Ataris were coming out too. The Atari 2600. So you could make games. I wish I'd done something more with it, but like I said, back then it just wasn't an option. It was a hobby. It was a niche market. There was no career in it. There was no future in it. Glad nobody told my grandmother that because she bought Intel stock before Intel was actually a thing. Well, it was just a small little company, but somebody recommended that she buy some Intel stock because it's going to get huge. Well, by the time she retired, she cashed it all in. She was sad. Atari 2600 was great. I actually played the ET game. Tried to beat it. Didn't realize you couldn't. Got an emulator out here. Two of them, actually. Two of the old 2600 emulators. Haven't been able to find the original console, though. Not too many of them left. Yeah, yeah. Well, it's going to. It's especially with all the spin-off things that are going on, Anonymous. There's going to be some volatility in that whole deal. But I honestly think that's the future of our economic system. Once the dollar crashes. Yeah, I got one up the street. I don't want to buy one though. I like finding those things, you know, like in a thrift store or something for like $5. Had an entire console collection out here. Bunch of different consoles from way back. I don't even remember. I think I spent $30 on the whole thing. Some guy gave me $400 for it. Well, Bitcoin is the big one. Bitcoin is the most stable one, the most reliable one, the oldest one. I think that's the one most people are going to turn to. It's also the one that most people have heard of. If you've heard of a cryptocurrency, you've heard of Bitcoin. I think that's the one that people are going to turn to once the dollar crashes. And that's going to be our future financial system. You are, Harry? What does that entail? I mean, people have heard of Bitcoin. It has a reputation. They're going to put their money in that. They're not going to put their money in Dogecoins. You know what I mean? It's just nobody knows about it. But there's no reason why they can't have a unified value, regardless of which currency you use. And there's no reason why they can't make it cross-platform either. With exchange rates and everything. And then that would create a new market. Of course, it would also create a lot of new problems, but it fulfills all the requirements of a currency except for tangibility. You okay, Harry? Well, you can buy friends with power. That's Kim Jong-un. If it wasn't for power, he'd be the loneliest guy on Earth. I'm going to line it up right at the surface of the water. I don't think he can. Yeah, that's probably about as close as I'm going to get. And they could morph into something, like we have today with, the dollar versus the yuan versus the ruble, versus the euro. That's going to be the first to crash. And once that crashes, you're going to start seeing people panic. Oops. It's always nice when mend works. Yeah. I don't think people have it in them anymore to do anything extreme, Danny. I think that type of mentality is dead and gone. No, I haven't, Harry. No, I haven't. I don't even know who Joyner Lucas is. Is he like a singer or something? Is it a he? Is that a guy name? Little news for you. Every single person on this planet is racist. Every single one. And anybody who says they're not is lying to you. Southwest corner of the zone. There you are. I see you. Right behind you. Patrick Swayze. It's human nature. It's the natural state of being. You naturally fear and or distrust anything that's different. It's a survival mechanism. It's not even a question of racial jokes or anything. You go your whole life and never make a single racial statement. It doesn't mean you're not. It doesn't mean you're not going to regard different people from different cultures differently than you do anybody else. You know, people from your own culture, your own race, your own whatever. The difference is how you act on that. Thanks for the buffs, Anonymous. Oh, I thought you were done. Sorry. Mighty big hammer for a little guy. So the first step into combating racism is just recognizing the fact that everybody's going to treat people slightly differently, and that's okay. That's okay. They're going to respond to people differently, and that's fine. As long as you don't, you know, respond in a violent manner. Hey then. How's it going, yo? I think Tom ditched me. You can't control how people think, and that's the problem. They keep trying to control how people think, and you can't do that. It's impossible for starters. And what was I saying? Oh, and you breed dissent when you try to do that. That's the problem with like the third wave feminist movement, you know, the modern racial movement and whatnot. All these modern movements because they're trying to control the way people think, and you just simply can't do that. You can't control the way people act. Whether it's through enforced control or just a willingness to go along with it, you know, because it's just more efficient, more economical. Which is the point we were in prior to the Obama administration. Prior to that, we had achieved that point where it was okay to have an opinion about somebody one way or the other, as long as you didn't act on that opinion. You know, as long as you didn't affect the way you hired workers. You know, if somebody was qualified for the job, then you hire them regardless. If somebody wanted to buy your merchandise, then you sold it to them regardless. But it wasn't enforced. It was just something that people kind of went along with because it was more economical. It's more efficient. Free market killed racism. Debating getting Elder Scrolls Online. How do we feel about that? Pretty game. It's a beautiful game. Alright, Hayden. Or Anonymous. Cranking it up a notch. Right, instead of trying to control people, just make them accountable for their actions. You know, if the shopkeeper is behaving in a specific manner that you find objectionable, don't shop at that guy's store. The problem will work itself out. If enough people find his behavior objectionable, enough people won't shop at his store. He won't have a store anymore, which will pave the way for somebody who's a little more willing to sell their wares to a broader range of people. That kind of thing. You don't have to control it the way anybody thinks. You don't have to control anybody's actions in that process. You just allow people to make their own choices. And it works itself out. No legislation required. I haven't really played it enough, Hayden, to have a firm opinion on it. I did one stream for like 4 or 5 hours, I think. Maybe not even that. Maybe it was only 3 of the game. And that's the limit of my exposure. I just didn't want to start another MMO. That's why I didn't take it any further. It was fun, though. The mechanics were fun. It was an enjoyable game to play. Who is that anonymous little halfling? Yeah, the visual similarities to Elder Scrolls is different. Alright, Harry, I'll be here. I will be here. Visually, it's much different than like Morrowind or whatever. It has to be, you know, for the whole MMO thing. Or wait, maybe I'm thinking of a different game. I might be thinking of a different game. I don't know. I don't remember. No worries, Trash. I'm just glad you're feeling better. Trash has been sick the last few days. Thought we were going to lose him for a while there. But he recovered. I actually found a copy of Morrowind. I forgot I had found in a box of old thrift store finds. Did I mention if I was doing this on my Bard, I'd be killing them all at the same time and not taking any damage in the process without buffs? Did I mention that? What you playing, Trash? Still doing Borderlands, or do you move on to something else? Oh. We have a computer out in the living room that we used to watch movies on. But the power supply blew on it, and I haven't replaced it yet. But as a result of that, we haven't been able to watch movies unless it's on like a DVD because, you know, the 360 is hooked up there. We don't have any of the current consoles. We don't play the 360. But we use the 360 as a DVD player. What was the point of me telling you that? Oh, I just on a whim was going through the store and started downloading King's Quest. I'll probably never play it, but they're offering it for free on their whatever store it is, the Xbox Live thing. Hold up. 5.3, never mind. Too heavy. I saw another knoll over here somewhere. Nope, guess not. Alright, Anonymous, thanks for the buffs. I appreciate that. Really did speed up the process a bit here. Oh, it just ripped right through that level. Shit, wasn't paying attention. Oh, thorns wore off. I was wondering why it was taking so long. Please die. Thank you. Phoenix has been following the channel for quite a while, and always points me towards good game deals and whatnot. But he also always busts my chops about playing Everquest. He flat out refuses to come to my Everquest streams. You guys, he's been sending me whispers. Yeah, that's true. That is true. I wish all the legal issues around Asheron's Call would get settled so I could start playing that again. Supreme Court's supposed to make a ruling about archiving old games. Games are no longer live. You know, for posterity, like, you know, kind of like a museum does for old artwork, or, you know, libraries do for books. Oh, I didn't know you could do that. Huh. I did not know you could do that. Turbine had it running in maintenance mode for like the last couple years. It was still live, but they weren't doing any more updates to it, just, you know, maintenance. And it switched to a you buy the game, you get unlimited playtime. The game was $9.99. All you had to do was buy a copy of the game, and then you could play for it as often as you want. But you weren't going to see any more new content. And then they Warner Brothers bought out the intellectual rights to the game. Now, prior to that, there was an agreement with, not an agreement, but Turbine basically gave their blessing for people to do emulator servers, and this is while the game was still live. You know, please, by all means, make an emulator server, because if people get those up and running, then we could shut this one down so we don't have to keep dedicating resources to a game that's effectively not earning us any money anymore. So people got to work. And some really good ones were up and running. And then Warner Brothers bought out the intellectual property and put the kibosh on the whole thing. Started sending cease and desist letters out, and they're not doing anything with it. They're just sitting on the property. Welcome back, Harry. You racist bastard. So there's an underground movement where people are putting up servers and hosting them in countries that don't really necessarily adhere to copyright laws and whatnot. But the downside to that is, in order to keep it off the radar, you can't stream it. I mean, you could, but you run the risk of screwing it up for everybody else, and I don't want to do that. All because Warner Brothers doesn't want 2,000 or 3,000 people to play an emulated server. Ooh, gonna break the bank. And it's not like anybody's making any money off of it. These are all labors of love, just like P99 is. It's all voluntary work. God, the amount of work that went into putting it together, because nobody had access to the source code, so they had to do it all from DAT files. Had to rebuild the game from the ground up from DAT files, loot tables and everything. That was a chore, and they put a lot of work into it. And then once they got it up and running, and it was getting close to the point where it was close to what it was right before they shut it down, Warner Brothers came in and said, "Nope, knock it off." Oh, excuse me. But the Supreme Court is supposed to be doing a ruling on archived games, you know, like Star Wars Galaxies, just that kind of thing, emulated servers for archival purposes, which would make yeah, that is a problem. City Heroes, there was a similar movement on, but NCSoft just said no, flat out no. NCSoft is really tight-fisted with their code. So people just started building a new City of Heroes game from the ground up. City of Titans and oh, what's the other one? Now it's online. Excuse me. It is possible that the source code was lost in the buyout when the investment company bought out Sony Online Entertainment. It is possible some of the stuff just got lost in the shuffle. Because, you know, it's like, oh, I don't know where Boar is. He might be streaming. He was a little while ago. He, for like an hour before I started streaming, he was streaming. So I don't know. Of course, it's Friday, isn't it? It is Friday, right? He might be out doing something. Holiday weekend, you know. He has a much more active social life than I do. Which isn't saying much. If you have one friend, you have a much more active social life than I do. Oh, I don't know. I don't know. No idea. Whenever I see EQOA, I always think EverQuest Oriental Adventures because of the D&D OA, D&D Oriental Adventures, and I always make that connection. I'm like, why would EverQuest do Oriental Adventures? Oh, online adventures. Oh, that might be the biggest problem, is because it's on the PlayStation, which Sony still very much actively owns the rights to. So it could be that they just weren't willing to give that up since that was a PlayStation product. And that I could see them doing. Not that Sony's as tight-fisted as some of these other companies, but you know, they still keep a very close eye on their bottom line. I'm trying to ding before I go. I really gotta go to the bathroom. Too much coffee. I'm trying to grind out the rest of this level real quick before my buffs run off, though. It's the problem with EverQuest, though. You can't do anything quick. I know, as Micah and I were talking about that the other night, there are no MMOs out right now that I just want to play. They just say, hey, play me. You know, people keep going on about Pantheon and oh, the other one. But you know, unless they're doing something incredibly amazing, I just see it being more of the same. Honestly, I don't know how much further you can take the genre. Oh, Jesus Christ. Alright. Worsen my wound, so... Red spots. Maybe you got chicken pox. Or hepatitis. Alright, folks, I am going to be right back. I have to hit the head. Actually, I don't think Thompson is showing up, so I think I'm actually going to wrap things up here, and I'm going to restart the stream here in a little bit. I'm going to hop on to World of Warships. So yeah, that's what I'm doing. So if you're up and around, that's what I'll be doing in about 20 minutes or so. And yeah, see you in a little bit.